Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing. This is going to be a quick update because we have a trivia night here at the hotel, and you can see our elusive program director makes the trips with me. He is a traveling cat, and this old man, hey boy, that old man right there, a big chubby fellow named Tiny, he has traveled more than 30,000 miles over the last 2.5 years in the truck, and he's a good little traveler. He doesn't seem to mind. Do you, boy? Over 30,000 miles in 2 years in the car, and he is approaching 12 and a half years old, looking healthy and fatter than ever, and he just got done devouring a nice meal. But we're going to make this quick little update here. And what we did do is we started purchasing. As you know, I'm not the biggest cryptocurrency fan in the world, but we made our first purchase for better or for worse, and we figured now is a better time than any, as it is approaching its all-time low, and it is in the ISO 2020 whatever coin, bank compliant coins. So we figured like the XRP and the XLM, uh, this would be a maybe not a horrible shot in the dark to take after it went down better than at my time of purchase, 95.93%. We bought our first allotment in Algorand, and you guys wanted to know when I buy coins, and I'll tell you when I buy coins. And we picked up 2,800 of them just now for about 300 and change, so that's a pretty cheap price, unless it goes way down there, and then that money goes out the window like a birdie. But if it ever does, one day into the future, 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, 5 years, if it ever does retouch this all-time high just on the initial purchase, I'm going to purchase about $50 to $75 a week until if it starts to go back up, then obviously I'll stop. But while it's down here below the mean of the trading volume, which is sitting at about 30 cents, but really below 20 cents, I'll continue to buy $50 or $75 a week. But we have 2,800 Algorand that we bought, and that is, you guys always ask me to tell you if I buy coins, and I did buy 2,800 of these for a few $100s. Then we'll see what happens over the next year or two or three. If this gets back to its all-time high, a $300 to $400 purchase would turn into $7,200, right? If it ever did get back up here. Eventually, unless it goes goodbye-bye, you would think at some point it would at least do something, because this has been in the monthly time frame 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 of the past 20 months. It's went down in the monthly. And you can see back in the old day, the same philosophy, if when it came out back up there and then it tanked to an all-time low, anybody that bought the all-time low when it returned back to its old all-time high, they did make a lot of money. So we put in a few $100s. We bought 2,800 of these bad boys, and we'll continue maybe work our way up to about 10,000 of these over the next couple of months if the price doesn't have a massive reversal of some sort. But if we can get another 5,000 coins or so for a few $100s, that would be a pretty good gamble for the future. But I did buy, just so you guys know, 2,800 Algorand, and I do know my audience likes to know when I do buy things, because they know I'm not the biggest crypto promoter on the planet. I just try to give you straight technical analysis and some facts and some information. Bell notification, subscribe to the channel, most importantly, comment down below and like it, to push us through the YouTube algorithm so more and more people can see what we're talking about. And if we look at the old XLM, I got to make this a shorter video. Trivia night starts in about a half an hour here at the ALGO Hotel. And you can see we're consolidating down still after we had the big pump, the big dump, and the big pump. And now we're down and sideways consolidating. And again, like we've been talking about, what I would look here and look for with our industry exclusive, made YouTube famous perching tool up here, is right now the moving average is starting to run parallel. The price is consolidating just below the 100-day moving average in blue and above the 200-day moving average in green, and above the mean of the volume, which you want to stay where this little red stick is, just below the 13.5 cents. You want to stay above that to remain bullish and maybe try to work its way back up to this critical 16 cents, right? So that's what we're looking at here. If it dipped below this, You see this? This is what you got to worry about. If it dipped below the mean of the volume, gets below the 12.6 cents, there is not a lot of volume, virtually nothing from 12.6 cents all the way down to about the 10 cents. So that's a pretty big fall and would happen pretty quick. The same way it pumped up through there, it would knife through butter its way down. But that's something for a different discussion and a different day. And if we zoom into here, that's why I like using the volume in VP volume indicator. You can see this gap that I'm talking about right there. And now on this most recent pump up, you can see we've created some overhead resistance now where we got some coins sticking out here. We got a pretty big gap here between about 15 cents and 14 cents. And then the big massive gap where there's literally no volume on the pump up. So those are two critical areas, and that's how you can use the VP volume indicator on its way up. If this thing did continue to the upside, you would have some overhead resistance right there because it would have to fight back through that overhead volume. That's going to act as resistance. The same thing if it knifes through down, it's got this big area right here to knife its way down. And if you use it in percentage wise from the bottom part of that stick to here, that's a 15% fall from those 2 points, and that's something that we're going to watch out closely. But to remain short-term bullish, you want to stay above these two major areas, the mean of the volume and this about 13.5 cents. And then if they get ultimately bullish, you want to get back on top of this purple dotted line, which is old major resistance from the way left machine. Remember back here, we looked at this earlier. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. Way back here, see this? Remember this? When we were up here dancing around, coming down in 2022 and early 2023, when everybody thought that this might be the bottom, but I suppressed my channel by me speaking the truth, saying it was going to go down more, which it did. It went way down, and it eventually broke that dotted line after sitting on it for a fairly long time, and it hasn't retested it ever since it broke below it at about the 22nd of the 6th of May of 2022, and it just now for the first time a year and a half later almost, it finally retested it, and to be expected, it had a harsh reversal because there were some sellers up there waiting and a lot of volume, right? So that's what we're looking at there. We already talked about ALGO, and the same thing with XRP. If we look at the way left machine, this blue trading zone has been a major support and resistance level. And just like Algo, it came up, came down, came up, and came down. And this could be in a step down fashion as we had a lot of volume push in a very short amount of time. And that does to get profit takers in there. It makes the trading take place like we were talking about in yesterday's video if you haven't watched that. And again, just like XLM, you can see if you got too much below where you're at now, you see what caught this right here on the 200-day moving average was the last little candlestick there at about 68.5 to 69 cents, because if you break that, there isn't a lot of volume until you get way down there at the mean of this volume in this recent pump, all the way down here at about 48 cents. But on the way up, you're going to have to fight and claw and scratch your way through all this overhead resistance now, local overhead resistance, just above the major trading area in the blue trading zone, right? So that's something we're watching out for if you want to get bullish. Obviously, you want to get back on top of that 70 cents, hold it as support, build a little bit of a base, and then scoot up to the upside, reclaim this old high, or at least get above this 84 to 83 cents, the major cluster of volume that's sitting there, and then maybe you can kick your way up to the upside. If not, you're going to trade, maybe step down fashion and retest this 58 cents, which is fine because there's support here. You can see that little bit of support, but this is a major support in the macro or the macro time frame. In the micro time frame, it's short-term support. In the macro or long-term time frame, this is major support now at 58 cents. We're trying to sneak our head above there like a little duck above the 70 cents, and that's something you'd want to see. Get back above those moving averages and sort of just hold it. It doesn't have to necessarily skyrocket, just hold those levels to keep short-term bullish action, right? So that's what we're looking at in this quick update. I'm going to get down to trivia night as I always travel, lots of work that I do. If you want to support the channel, people have been asking me about donations. I don't really do that. If you want to donate, you can, or else you can go to my various levels of Jabroni Killers, and that's your best way to support the channel, or give me a super chat down below where you can super chat and then donate through there. But the cheapest option to support the channel is $2.99 a month. It's an industry exclusive cheapness and the most value and most bang for your buck at $2.99 or about $40 a year. If you want to become the lowest member of Jabroni Killer, I've had multiple people ask how to support the channel, and that really is the best way to support the channel, and it's very, very cheap. If you wanted to do that at $2.99 a month to become a member of the Jabroni Killers. Once again, I say this with the most greatest gratitude and peace and love to my beautiful, glowing, lovely audience. Until the next video, peace and love. And I will get into an XDC video a little bit later because I had a question about that, but I must get down to trivia night.